Good afternoon, everybody. Happy Friday. It's me, your managing editor of WrestlingInc.com, Nick Hausman, joined here as I am every Friday by my very good friend, TK Trinidad. TK, welcome back to the Wrestling Inc. Daily.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem. So this is a special edition here today. Spoiler alert, this is a pre-tape. We won't be live here today, so none of the regular YouTube comments going on right now. Comments. I know, it's just you and me, TK.
Oh, I'm so disheartened. I like
No.
the comments.
I'm embracing it. It's fine. We get our own arena today. This is the Thunderdome era of the Wrestling Inc. Daily right now. You're all quietly watching behind your screens.
Let's do it. I'm ready.
Well, it's also a non-traditional show because, like, usually we're talking the news of the day, but since I am having to leave today, I left actually last night. When I'm recording this, I will have not left yet, but I'm in St. Louis as you're listening to this or watching this right now. I was here earlier this morning, Friday morning, to participate in WWE's Royal Rumble Media Row, talking to all the nice superstars that were available to me. And so later on, actually, after we talk the Rumble, which is all we're going to do here today, we're going to do a preview prediction. You're going to get to hear a big mystery WWE superstar interview. I'm sure whoever it is great. And if you are watching us in video form, it should already be up on YouTube if I did my job correctly. If it's not up there, judge away. And
I believe in you.
Thank you, TK. I believe in me too. I think this is going to be fine. What a 24 hours we got ahead of us. And of course, the end of the show for everybody. We're still going to do the mailbag. Still ran a poll. Today we're going to look at the Men's Rumble. Who you guys think will win that? Tomorrow on the show. Or wait, no, today is, oh man, I'm recording these back to back. On this show, we're going to be talking about the Women's Rumble match in the mailbag. Yesterday's show that I have not yet recorded with Paul will feature the Men's Rumble. God damn, this is way more complicated than I think I should have made this, TK.
I mean, live is always the best way to go, but here we are.
All right. Let's move on. It's time for preview you can review. Oh, that's not bad. You can review or preview. Disagree with us. Take it to Twitter. It's not time for news you can use, that's for sure. So we're going to do the Rumble stuff last, and we'll use that to kind of trail into the mailbag as well. So let's start with the WWE title match. Big match. Bobby Lashley, Brock Lesnar. How do you feel going into it? What do you think is going to go down here? Or what do you hope goes down here?
Well, I think Brock doesn't really need. I don't think Brock needs to retain. I think Bobby's going to get it just for the hype of the storyline. And I think that Brock is going to be irritated and pissed off, and Brock's going to do what he wants to do, and he'll be an entrant for Royal Rumble. I think that's what's going to happen.
Okay, not a bad prediction, right? And that's something that I think like MVP laid out in an interview where he was like, Brock's probably going to win the Rumble because he's going to lose to Bobby. So who knows? Maybe putting it right out in the open there. I don't hate that. I actually agree with you. I think that Bobby Lashley's probably going to take this thing. I don't know if like Heyman does a double turn, right? Kind of deal, or not a double turn. He's already turned. So I don't know if he just screws.
He might turn
Bobby.
Again. Maybe. Yeah, we don't. I mean, he could do whatever he wants.
But I think we could see a Heyman or an Usos or somebody getting involved here, some shenanigans to take the title off of Brock and spin off into Bobby being the champion. Right. Because as we talked about on yesterday's show that I'm about to record, it looks like Brock Lesnar is going to be moving over to the SmackDown brand more regularly here on the road to WrestleMania. So something to keep the program going between Brock and Roman. That's what I'm expecting is the spin out here from Lashley and Lesnar. Yeah?
Yeah. And we also have to remember, too, that Brock is on borrowed time. Like his contract is, he's one of the lucky ones, or however you want to put it, where he's on a certain time limit and then he's going to go back to his farm and live his life and then come back again. So, they have to make use of him, and they want to make sure that it's a good storyline. And I think Bobby getting it again, people will root for that, especially with MVP by his side. MVP is also great on the mic too, so I think they can create some great storylines. So I'm for that.
Yeah, and I think Bobby was a great champion, right? Real rough run, right? Early kind of, or I think he was into the pandemic kind of era and then into the fans.
Yeah.
Rough time to kind of get a title run going, especially as your first time as the champion. A win
Mhm.
over Brock Lesnar, even if it's by hook or crook, is still a win over Brock Lesnar. It's something to
Yep.
talk about. Hang your hat on and continue to build. Like, I don't want the Bobby Lashley momentum to stall, right? This is a chance to actually pick it back up and keep running it down the field, you know?
Yeah. I mean, again, think of the terrible stories that they had at one point where it's the sisters and, Leo Rush wasn't bad, but I think this version of him is perfect and it's champion worthy. And we should definitely, go with it. So
Right.
yeah, and I agree. The last run he had was, even though it's celebrated, is one of those things where it's like now can we say post pandemic? I don't know where we are. Wherever we are right now, would be. I mean, we're outdoors for now. But maybe the next 24 hours things will change. Who knows?
Right.
But yeah, where we are at this particular moment would be a good run for him.
Well, then let's go over the Universal title match. Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, SmackDown Tag Team Champions, the Usos. They are banned from ringside. They're banned for ringside for this match, not Brock. That's interesting. But I think we both agree, right? Roman would retain here. That seems to make the most sense for us. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's definitely because I don't know about yourself, and I don't want to speak for anybody else, but the Royal Rumble, like they have great matches, but I think the pops are the men's and women's Royal Rumble, like who's going to show up, all this other stuff. The matches that they have, other than that, it's a lead up to WrestleMania. So, when you have like Seth and Roman, even though their last back and forth was really great, because Seth made reference to other stuff about Roman, which was great. It's just like I think we all know that Roman's gonna retain. I feel like it would really kill the momentum and the storyline. Like if Seth were to get it, it's like then what is Roman on vacation? Like where does Uso go? Like it's just a lot more questions.
Yeah. I agree, and it's been such a strong run here with Roman on top, and yeah, and he's already surpassed the 500-day marker or whatever. I mean, I don't know. I think everybody wants to see him retain, and yeah, it certainly makes a lot more sense for Brock Lesnar of the two men to be the one to drop a title, bring this thing
back
over to SmackDown. Raw Women's title match, Doudrop taking on Becky Lynch. How do you feel here? What do you think?
Although I do like the fact that they're pushing somebody other than the four horsewomen, and two of the horsewomen are out. So, but I I do like that they're pushing somebody else. But again, it's one of those things like, I mean, sometimes WWE does throw a wrench into the scenario and does something that we're totally not expected. And if Doudrop were to retain, then or not, it's not retain. Doudrop were to win, that'd be a whole different storyline. And that might be, sometimes we need to embrace change. However, I think that WWE is slow to change, so I don't think that's what's going to happen. But I would welcome Doudrop winning, but I just don't think it's going to happen. I think it's going to.
I don't think it's the right time for her. I get that they needed somebody that's looked dominant, to go up against Becky at the Rumble, but you got Becky kind of teetering on this heel persona still, right? Doudrop decidedly heel. This match, I feel like, is going to be Becky is a baby face. I don't know if this is, maybe that's why they're doing this match, because looking ahead here to the Women's Rumble match, with Ronda possibly coming back, we don't really know kind of what persona she would be here. I just think it's just a weird pairing, a heel versus heel title match at a Big Four event. Does not happen that often.
Right. Yeah. So I think it's just an in between, but kudos to Doudrop for, coming out of nowhere, even though she's in NXT. Okay. Coming out of nowhere and, having a main event at Royal Rumble.
Yeah. And look, I like Doudrop a lot. It's just booking wise, it's just weird, right? Like, I don't really feel like anybody ever sunk their teeth into this one, got excited about it. Just a weird pairing for a pay-per-view.
Yeah, it is. I mean, they could use other women, but, here we are. I feel like we definitely, the Women's Royal Rumble is like something way more to be discussed. So I think it's just kind of like a speed bump to WrestleMania for Becky Lynch.
Well, we got a big mixed tag team match here at the Rumble. We've got WWE Hall of Famers Edge and Beth Phoenix taking on future WWE Hall of Famers The Miz and Maurice. What are your thoughts on this one? How do you see this one going down?
This is cute. I mean, it's nice to see, a couple thing. Nice to see Maurice back in the ring, kind of, sort of. I think. Oh, you know what? I want to throw in a fantasy booking, and this is definitely not going to happen.
All
But
right.
what would be awesome is if Beth, um, they win, and then Chelsea Green and Zack Ryder, they have a match with them.
Hey,
Never
look,
gonna happen.
why
But
not? Why not?
that's that just kind of came. But I think Beth and Edge are gonna they're gonna win, and
I don't know.
I don't know.
Edge got the win over Miz at the last pay-per-view, didn't he? Like
Right.
Miz got distracted. He turned around, ate the spear from Edge. I go the opposite route here. I think I think this is Miz and Maurice getting the win back from the last one. I don't know if it'll be clean or not, but Edge is super over right now. Like there's no reason Edge needs to win this. Beth is gonna get a return match here. Miz is still young enough and viable enough where on the other side of this, especially if he's going to get his big Hall of Fame induction that he was teasing about or whatever, rolling into WrestleMania. I don't know if that makes him a Dark Horse Rumble candidate. I don't know if that makes him a Dark Horse Elimination Chamber candidate, or even if there's just somebody else they want to pair him with on the road to WrestleMania. But I just see a lot more you could do with a reheated Miz here. Two pay-per-view losses in a row doesn't really do a whole lot for the guy.
Well, this is what I was thinking. What if this is not the last? What if they do this again at WrestleMania?
I just don't think there's a need to, like why would you do it again? I mean, I maybe go back to just a straight up Miz and Edge program, but if anything, I think the rubber match goes down in Saudi, right? And that's where Edge delivered big last time with the Hell in a Cell with Seth Rollins. And they started before the Rumble. They're already a pretty heightened point here at the Rumble. Can you keep it going for 3 more months? I don't know. I don't know that I put faith in them to do that.
I mean, I agree with you. However, so we have the WWE universe, which is like us, and then we have the what was that movie? The Timekeepers, which is the people in WWE. And they're the ones who really run things. And there have been plenty of times where we look at something as like, why is this still going on? So I am never surprised when something continues or something randomly just dies, because we are just mere mortals in the WWE Timekeeper universe. We're just a section of the block.
All right. Wow. Okay. This isn't going to get run back at Mania. There's no way. There's no way they're running this back at Mania. I don't think that's possible. Despite whatever I just did drugs and listened to you say, I have no idea. Like I just smoked a blunt and fell asleep at a party.
Oh, it's low key. It's low key. It's the. Did you watch that movie on Disney? No, you have to watch it. It's very interesting. You have to watch it on your play ride to St. Louis. Watch it, and then you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. And then text me and like, oh, I got it. I still need to smoke some weed, but I got what you were saying. That's what you need to do.
I'm gonna get in trouble in Missouri if I get throw me in the clinker. The clink. Okay. Two big bouts to go. And then of course we got an interview with some WWE superstar in just a bit. But we'll start with the men's rumble. So I'm gonna read them all. Johnny Knoxville, Austin Theory, Rey Mysterio, Dom Mysterio, Montez Ford, Dawkins, Sheamus, Damian Priest, AJ Styles, Big E, Kofi Kingston, Sami Zayn, Madcap Moss, Baron Corbin, Happy Corbin, Kevin Owens, Omos, Ziggler, Rude, Orton, Riddle, Otis, Chad Gable, and then 8 other mystery spots. But we have had rumored Shane McMahon was one of them. Who was the other one that got tossed out there? Oh, Bad Bunny is going to be another one.
He's on tour though. He's like on tour now.
I don't know that. Yeah, I the source here for those particular rumors, I'm not positive about it. We should look up the Bad Bunny tour dates after this. It's a good idea.
Yeah.
But Braun Breaker in the wings, I'm sure that maybe a Tony D'Angelo, somebody else, Pete Dunne, maybe. I think that a couple NXT guys, Grayson Waller, maybe gets a rub here. So less spots are open here. So we pretty much know the field sans a couple of exceptions.
Right. Yeah. And then of course, the random Brock in the pissed off
right.
state, just entering himself.
Sure. Man, wouldn't that be, that's how the Rumble should start, as a super pissed off Brock Lesnar. Like Johnny Knoxville pulls one, right? And he's waiting in the ring. And he's like, baby, I'm going to go the distance. It's like, dude, you want to do a jackass stunt? We're going to have Brock Lesnar beat the shit out of you for like 2 minutes and then toss you over the top rope to start.
I like it.
You know what? And like Johnny Knoxville said he's bringing all his buddies, right? So there could be like him and Bam. Okay, Steve-O could be there. Ryan could, like, Wee Man, and Brock could kill them all. He could just kill the entire cast of Jackass Forever to start the Rumble, and I don't think anybody would be upset about that.
I mean, yes, that could go, but then he has 28 other people to go against to finish. And that might be, a bit much. Not necessarily for Brock, but just, watch time and, and then it's just kind of like, okay, Brock's on the number 25th person. He he kicks them out again. Like it just seems however, I see that in the reverse. Well, no, because Knoxville's already numbered. So yeah, I mean,
I don't know.
I feel like you have to that I like that idea, but
so
just in the long run.
You sound pretty pot committed to Brock Lesnar coming out on top here. That's
yeah, I think that makes sense on the way to WrestleMania.
Okay.
Like think about it. So if Brock retains, then who do we have for WrestleMania?
That's a great question. Big E's the other big name they're floating out there. What a cool moment that would be if it comes down to Big E and Brock Lesnar, final moment there. Maybe a chance for Big E to, get something back from what he lost there with Lesnar. Just throwing that out there. Yeah, and Randy Orton's the other one for me. I mean, they're in St. Louis. That's his hometown. There's no doubt he'd get a gigantic, huge reaction.
Right.
Who would complain about Randy Orton getting WrestleMania title shot? I don't think many people at this point.
Right, but I feel like Bobby. Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, I definitely feel like Big E deserves something. But I think that they're going to. I don't think, because you know how sometimes like superstars, they get their belt and then they lose it and like they're just down the hole and you don't see them for a while. I think Big E is still in the talkings, but I think it's going to be after WrestleMania that he's going to get another opportunity. I think WrestleMania would be great, but I think his name is Big E, but Brock Lesnar is bigger.
Okay, and that kind of skip a beat, right? Which is kind of what happened with Lashley, right? Dropped the title, fell out of the main event picture, stayed strong, right. Bounced his way back into it, kind of deal. I can see that. Yeah, yeah. Randy Orton, I just really like a whole lot. And then another thought, but no, I don't think that's it. I think that's it. I think I'm into my thoughts for Rumble predictions right now. Yeah, I'm trying to think. I was like, I don't think I do. I think I did, but I lost it. It's fine. All right, lastly here, and we're going to talk about this in the mailbag here too. We'll just kind of slide right into it on the other side of this interview. The Women's Rumble match. Here is everybody in the Women's Rumble match. And remember, Charlotte Flair will be in the match, and if she wins, she gets to pick her own opponent for WrestleMania. So it's her, Rhea Ripley, Nikki Ash, the Bellas, Shotzi, Natalya, Michelle McCool, Dana Brooke, Carmella, Queen Zelina, Mickie James, Tamina Snuka, Kelly Kelly, Aaliyah, Summer Rae, Naomi, Shayna Baszler, Lita, Liv Morgan, Bianca Belair, and then 9 participants. And Trish Stratus, I think, was a little coy with her answer about this the other day, so maybe she's in the wings. Who knows? Bailey.
That might not happen because Canada's on lockdown still.
Oh, is it? All right.
They're on lockdown to the end of the month. Toronto's on lockdown to the end of the month.
But Bailey, Asuka, and maybe Ronda Rousey. That's the other one out there right now coming back.
Yeah, the rumors, there's a lot of rumors with Ronda. They said that she's been training. Apparently, she's booked her hair and makeup person. And, Ronda's not much of a hair and makeup person girl. Like, she doesn't do that every day. So, that might be... I would like to see this. And I think the reason why is that WWE and AEW have been kind of going head to head. And I think a Ronda Rousey, like no matter what, she's still mainstream media. People are still familiar with her name. So her coming back on Royal Rumble, just as far as WWE's name being out there, would be a great pop. Whether she would, I mean, is she still considered on contract because she didn't finish out the 3 years?
I don't really know what Ronda's deal is. You know, I think
Yeah,
that whatever, if these sides want to play together, they'll figure it out.
yeah.
Two things. First, I remembered my men's thought. I'm going to come back to it here in just a second after
Okay.
this women's rumble. It took me a second there. But no, with the women's rumble, going back to what I said earlier with Becky, like if Ronda Rousey comes out and wins this rumble and like
Mhm,
you orchestrate it correctly where she eliminates Bianca and she eliminates Liv, the people you really would maybe be rooting for in this circumstance, the
mhm,
fans were not really there for Ronda, you know, at the end of her last run. She was
right.
really seemingly getting affected by that. She's talked a lot of trash in the time off since, worked or not
Mhm,
worked, not sure. Um, her coming back, eliminating some top baby faces to win the Rumble, I don't think is a guarantee for a big pop. And I think maybe they know that. And I wonder again, is that why they're doing Becky Dewdrop? Because that's a chance for you to baby Becky against a heel. Because she can
mm.
play baby in that situation, come out on top, you know, maybe a little edgy, and fans would be there. So when you do the stare down between Becky and Ronda, I don't know that it's a guarantee Ronda's baby Becky's heel. I mean, it kind of feels to me like they're setting up a like a double turn here.
Well, here's the things. Two things. You said the big pop.
Yeah,
So we have the WWE universe, and then we have mainstream media. Mainstream
I'm
media
not
is.
discounting the mainstream media, but I'm talking
Oh
about from
yeah.
the perspective of storytelling with
Okay.
these two particular. Because like it's Ronda, of course she's going to get mainstream media, but
Right.
from the perspective of the story they're trying to tell here with Ronda and Becky, like looking at why they're doing certain things, I don't really know that the intention here is to portray Ronda Rousey within the WWE universe as some big baby face this time around. I don't know that. I mean, maybe she'll get press elsewhere. Maybe that becomes a story on
Right.
ESPN. Ronda Rousey keeps going out and telling everybody wrestling's fake on a live WWE microphone. But
Right.
like, I don't know. Like, that's again, you know, going back to why are they doing Becky Dewdrop? What a weird pairing. Are they
Mhm.
preparing? Are they moving into territory to baby Becky Lynch right now? Is what I'm wondering.
Maybe that definitely is possible. And again, we don't. I mean, we don't know. Like, it whether she comes back or not, in all honesty, as far as wrestling is concerned, it's kind of like, okay, you were right. She didn't get much of a, people weren't really feeling Ronda for a lot of reasons.
Yeah,
So it's kind of almost like that. Well, obviously The Rock comes back. That's a whole different thing. He's not coming back for the Rumble, but it's kind of like almost like everybody's calling for it because that's kind of what we expect.
I don't know that
Um,
people are clamoring for a Ronda. Like again, mainstream wise, maybe great, but I don't feel like
mhm.
I don't feel like the WWE universe right now is like clamoring for Ronda Rousey to return.
Not
You know,
clamming for her, but that's what people have been talking about. So not necessarily wanting it, but it's more like, well, if it's gonna happen, then this is when it should happen, type thing. But yeah, I mean, it would be a good story. However, another story would be Bianca winning for the second time,
I agree.
which is like puts her at the EST back because she hasn't fell so far down. She's been having matches and all this stuff, which means that just like Big E, she's still kind of in that picture. There might be a belt in her future, not necessarily for WrestleMania, but for another time. However, if Ronda doesn't come back in the picture, I think Bianca winning the second time would be a great
Yeah,
story.
I still think that Bianca could eliminate Ronda. Ronda doesn't need this win, right? But you know,
Right.
anyway. So back to my all right, final thought on the men's rumble. I'm going to go bounce back to this real quick. Then we're going to do
Okay.
this interview, and then we'll quickly dive in the mailbag. So should we read anything into the fact Cody dropped the TNT title last night on Dynamite as we're recording this, as a possible entrant into the men's Royal Rumble? He's very open that he's on a handshake deal. That's what Lex Luger was on before he popped up over on WCW Nitro. I don't know.
um.
What is your vibe on a possible Cody Rhodes coming to the Royal Rumble?
Okay. So WWE to me could be very petty. So and it's just one of those things there. If WWE was like above board, meaning that their superstars know that they're being let go, via a phone call or text message instead of via Twitter. Or just superstars being treated a certain way. then I'm all on that. Then that's possible. But also too, AEW is not like the gentle lamb in the corner. Like they've been saying stuff too. So if I were WWE and I'm still the top dog, and you, the new kid on the block, is saying stuff about me, then why am I going to extend that hand,
I think
regardless of who your father is or father was?
I'm I don't know that being petty with Cody is the end game here, right? Because Cody's
Mhm.
been so valuable to Tony Khan, and I don't know that Cody's like entirely happy with that locker room environment. I don't know that locker room's entirely happy with Cody, but again, we'll find out when the books are written in the end. I think
Mhm.
that him coming back with Vince saying, "I respect what you've done. We want you back in the fold." That's all Cody wants. That's all Cody wants. That's all he ever wanted. He just wanted his dad to tell him that he loves him. And I'm not talking about his real dad. I'm talking about Daddy Vince. I'm talking about the one who signs his paycheck right now. That's all he wanted. He wanted to play. Hey, Vince is like, hey, Cody, why don't you go grab your mitt? Let's go throw a ball in the back, right? That's all Cody wants, okay? And like, he's earned Vince's respect now, and he can, leave these indie nerds to go do their little, NXT 3.0 if that's what they want to do. I have a very strong feeling that might be part of the mentality right now.
Do you think that's I could see what you're saying as far as potential locker room esque. Um, I mean, I could see so many of him being in WWE in some way, shape, or form or fashion. Like I could see that. Like I could see a Brandy and Cody and a Miz and Maurice. Like like I could see. Like there's
Yes,
so many things that I could see.
yes.
However, I could see it.
I know. That's the thing. Is it's
Ooh,
like
ooh.
I'm not saying it's going to happen, but it could happen. And then when I think about all the reasons it could happen, I'm like, oh man, it might happen. And I go from could to might. And from might to
Mm.
whatever's next is not like a huge leap for me here. And even if he doesn't sign with WWE, even if he just goes over and he walks through the forbidden door and he gets a big reaction and he comes out of the final four and he gets eliminated, he shows up on Dynamite and he goes, hey everyone, I tried. I was going to grab that belt and bring it back, but whatever, like it just seems very him. It seems very him to just
It does
do it, you
see
know?
it does seem like him, but he's not the one. uh like if he was the Tony Khan in the situation, like he was the one, controlling everything and with the money, then I could see that, but he has to clear a lot of hurdles to get there. And then also too, speaking of guys, and I don't think this is going to happen, but this would be cool if they did, since Mickey James is, going to be in the Royal Rumble. Somebody like Moose would be awesome in the Royal Rumble, but for Impact, there's like a lot of people. You're a certain type of wrestling fan if you watch Impact. Like it's one of those things. So it's just like I would love to see him in the Royal Rumble, but then a lot of people will be like, is he part of WWE? Like a lot of people might not know who he is. So the pop wouldn't make sense. But
Multiple issues with that.
anything is possible.
All right. Well, thank you, TK, for previewing the Rumble with me. Thank you to Mystery WWE Superstar that if you're in audio form, you just listened to. And again, if you're watching this in video form, hey, in just a couple minutes or in a minute or two, we're going to debut. It should already be live. I don't know what I'm talking about. Go watch it. It's up there. Finish this. Go watch it. It's already available. And we'll probably have coverage on the site to boot. So we are very short on time. I will real quickly let you all know that with 171 votes here, 50.3% of you all think Ronda Rousey's going to win the Rumble. 22.2 say Bayley. 16.4 to Bianca and 11.1 to somebody else. Bayley is not anybody we really heavily talked about in our preview
Yeah.
conversation, but she's the runner-up to Ronda Rousey right now. I don't know what that says.
I mean, I think that's a good bet, but I think also too, I think towards WrestleMania, but then I also think towards like they can't have all their pops, and I think they're building up also to SummerSlam too. So it really just depends on when. I think she has been cleared, but it depends on how you want to utilize it. You don't want it to be underwhelming. So if they do it, they need to do it right and have a good storyline.
I agree with that. And one of the reasons I think that Rumble would maybe be good for Bayley right now, even if she doesn't win the Rumble, is because they've announced all these other legends that are coming back. And I think it's kind of cool that with all these legends announced, the women like Bayley and Asuka, who you don't know are coming back, but are people you're going to be able to work with more, they're
Mhm.
gonna get bigger pops, right? Because they're the surprises, and that's a real twist to Rumble's
Yeah.
past. You know what I mean? It's
Mhm.
like the in-house talent or a Lacey Evans. That's the surprise. It's not a Lita or
Right.
whoever. You know, they've twisted it. I think that's just an interesting move this year. Yeah.
It is, yeah, and we'll see, what people who are there, like, are the Bellas gonna stay around for like a mini storyline leading up to WrestleMania? I mean, I mean, Lita, like, Bet, like, there's just so many things that the lead up, as far as the women are concerned, that they can do like storylines with people that we know, that are not necessarily like the people that they've been recycling over and over again.
All right. Well, hey, we will get back to this next week once we know what happened at the Rumble. TK and I will be back next Friday. If you want to get more coverage of the Rumble, again, I was on Media Row this morning. All the videos, all the interviews should be live on our YouTube right now. We'll have more Rumble coverage tomorrow because I'll be sticking around in St. Louis. I'll be at the actual pay-per-view on Saturday. So on-site coverage of that on all of our socials. Support the Wrestling Inc. Daily on iTunes or whatever podcast platform. Leave us a nice comment. Support WrestlingInc.com and all the socials. And, of course, tonight after SmackDown, stick around for the Wrestling Inc. podcast. They'll also be around tomorrow night on Saturday night following the Rumble. TK, anything you want to put over here to wrap up the preview show here today?
We are gonna have an after show for the Royal Rumble, so definitely check us out for that. Women's Wrestling Talk at Women's Wrestling Talk, www.talkpod.com. Wow, I think I've been drinking what you're drinking. Or you can follow us on social media, WW Talk Pod, or you can follow me on everything at TK Trinidad.
Drinking agua. I'm just drinking water. I'm hydrated. That's all.
Mm.
Feeling fluid. Been drinking less alcohol
Okay.
recently, honestly. Probably why I'm a bit more high energy. I'm at Nick _Hausman over on Twitter. Thank you all so much for tuning in. I'll talk to you on Monday. And remember, if you winked, you didn't.